Hi everyone, this is Killshot99 Gaming. This is The Walking Dead Season 9, best of the second half. This is a little bit of a continuation from the stream we did, I guess middle of last week. Time just all flies. I want to thank everybody for being here. Couple days off, and hopefully you guys had a chance to sort of regroup and recharge as well. Good news for everybody, no spoilers tonight. You don't have to hide, you don't have to run, no spoilers. But the time frame is a little awkward because we are used to ending The Walking Dead, having a week or so off, and then going into Fear the Walking Dead. And tonight we don't have that luxury. So we are going to make a couple announcements, some streams that we're going to do between now and Fear the Walking Dead. You guys know that Game of Thrones is right around the corner. But we're going to do a little bit of a schedule change, so I'm going to talk about that. Before we get into it, I want to say thank you to all the Patreons up there. Brand new Patreon and also channel members. Not updated all the user interface. But down in the bottom left-hand corner, if you guys could just give me a warm welcome for our newest Patreon and channel member, Anita Nokier. Thank you so much, Anita. Sorry we didn't update you on the other stuff, but by tomorrow we'll get you fully... your full membership. So you have access to all the emojis now, so you got the cool stuff. But hopefully, you know, with the membership to the Patreon and all the polls and surveys and everything else, thank you so much for that. So we're going to, we started doing this. We did the whole season 9, and there was so much dialogue around it that we couldn't get through but half the season. So this is why we did the continuation. And I think a lot of tonight, we'll probably vote for maybe our best episodes or best scenes somewhere along the way. I'll ask you guys a couple questions. But going back through each episode, I didn't realize how much of the Whisper story that they told. And it was literally, about maybe 3 episodes, maybe 3.5 episodes. I don't know. Were you guys getting a little bit, I guess, anxious? It almost seemed like the first 2 or 3 episodes of the second half was very much like the first 2 or 3 episodes of the first half. It was just kind of going and going and going, and it got right to the point where if it would have went another week, I might have been freaking out a little bit. Like, that's too long. It's been a month, so, but I think they timed it really well. We got Valar in the house. What's up, Valar? Super chatting it up. Hello, 99 Army, Kill Step, Emmy Kill, Sweet Tommy, sponsors, patrons, all the super chatters, channel members, everything. We got the whole, we got the whole group here, and I'm glad we can get everybody kind of back together without the fear of spoilers. And you guys know how I feel about spoilers. I like them as a means to validate, but that's about it. So before we get to episode by episode, here's a couple things. One, I said, well, I didn't lie. I said we'd start random things next Tuesday, but instead we're going to start random things on Monday. I just want to start out random things at the beginning of the week because we have a lot of fun doing it, and a lot of people are working. They're off on the weekends, and they go back and they work on Monday, and they just want to talk and they want to hang out. So I think random things is better to do on a Monday night. When we first started doing it, we started doing it on Mondays, and then we did recaps of episodes, and then we pushed it to Tuesdays, but we're going to do that on Monday night. And we are going to start I think toward the end of next week, we're going to go ahead and start with some of our bold predictions for the first half of Season 10. It's way, way early. We got no data. We're going in blind. And then we're going to do Game of Thrones, obviously, next week. So a lot of good stuff on the channel. Don't forget Freestyle Fridays. That'll be tomorrow night. I love it, Fluff. Fluff's like, what's work? I have a money tree in the backyard. Well, you need to come and plant money trees for everybody. So we'll get into episode number 9. Feel free to chime in what you liked, what you didn't like. So adaptation. After the death of Jesus, they were, all kind of trapped there. We kind of got the visual of what we already knew, the mask coming off, a little bit of the trek back, and we finally got introduced to Lydia. So kind of go back with me, I guess, a couple of months at this point. What was, of that episode, what was the most shocking that, was it when the Whisper opened the gate? Was it the way back? The prisoner? And then, what was really interesting about that was the Tammy Rose. Like, I think at that moment, there were 2 villains. And it was Lydia and Tammy Rose. Funny, isn't it? That they didn't stay villains very long. But there was a lot of hatred with that. June Smith super chatting says, Army, Dag, I missed y'all. I missed Kill's voice, most of all. Please keep Sheila Mack in prayers. Her mom is ill. What's up? We definitely will. So shout out to you, Sheila Mack's mom, and also what's up to you as well. And June, I just got a follow-up question, and we'll get back to this. Do I sound different after 2 days? Is it, we were doing so many streams, like one after another, so many topics. We just wanted to get all the conversation out there. Do I sound rested? Do I sound different? Do I sound like, yeah, we don't remember that guy? That's a totally different person. Just want to know. Or is it, no, it's nothing. It's back to normal. Thank you. Yeah, I missed all of you too. I will tell you, the last stream we did, I was hitting a wall like you would not believe. I don't know if it was 4 streams that day. It was Monday. But whatever the last one was, I don't know if I could have read another super chat. I was trying. Well, thank you. And if it sounds the same, then I was holding it together pretty well. But I really wanted to talk Walking Dead tomorrow night, and I just need a couple days off. All right, cool. Well, all right, we're back to stress-free. I was gonna sing, but I won't. I'll wait till tomorrow. I'll wait till Freestyle Friday. And we do, we don't have 4,000 people in this stream. So one thing I can do that I really, really like, I like both. I like big crowds because there's a lot of different ideas. But I'm also going to tell you, I like a couple hundred people. A kind of a smaller group. We can jump around. We can get more people. We can get your thoughts in there. Zola says, I sound rested. Chris definitely wants to hear. I know, but you know what's funny, Kels? Chris always says, like, okay, my ears hurt. I got to go. But then I always see typing right after that. So it's almost like it's playing possum, acting like he leaves, but he's really staying around. I'll pass. Reese Nevin, Kills, you do so much for us. Well, thank you so much. I don't really. I just set up a stream, get together. You guys do all the work. Exactly, Darlene. Well, I mean, I was going to sing some Blink-182. I was going to sing I Miss You because I know that, you guys miss me. I miss you. And I thought Chris might be a Blink-182 fan. Darlene, does he like Hello There? The angel from my nightmare, the shadow in the background of the morgue, the unsuspecting victim. That's more of a happy tune to it. That's kind of upbeat Blink-182. It's supposed to be a darker song, but I just, you guys got me going today, so that's for you. Don't know if you like it, but that's the best I can do for you. And Chris, you can tell everybody that this is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done. All right, back to what we're talking about. You guys got me off topic. We're going to make this into a Freestyle Thursday before long. The nightmare just started. Hey, just a simple thank you would have been nice. Simple thank you. Don't have to be derogatory. So, back to episode 9. Many of you in this room were just so angry, like, kill Lydia, she's a liar. And then we almost had to wait a week to like her, right? We went through all of that, and then we saw a little bit of her childhood in Omega. We got some Luke and Alden being captured. I think, was it Omega that we got to see Alpha at the end of... Trail ends here. That was the end of 10, right? Because I think we were waiting like 2 weeks anxiously. The Symphony of Awesome is where we got introduced to that. I got some people like, they're checking back. They're like, flipping through the book. Because a lot of you guys took notes as well. It's been so long ago, right? Right, Will? So I certainly wouldn't say that 9, 10, or even 11 was up there in the best of. At least for me, the first 3, 9, 10, or 11, they were okay. We got, I think it was Bounty. Daryl got to know Lydia a little bit more, and we had to do the trade-off. Alpha shows up at the gate. She's feeding babies to the walkers, and we find out nobody is in charge of Hilltop, or nobody claims to be in charge of Hilltop. So they were good, and I think it was good because it was the first time we really got to see Alpha. Robin Vance says Bounty was the best episode. Hey, Kyle, absolutely, man. Appreciate you guys watching and being part of the Patreon team and part of the 999 Army, watching these streams. We got a ton of amazing support for this channel. So, Taya says, I think those episodes are great, and they're elevated by the ones that can't. Oh, I like that. So, I was saying they're good, and then we went to great. You guys are saying they're great, and then it got to a whole different level. I'm okay with that. Okay, a lot of fans of Bounty. Because it was the quicker picker-upper. So, they're ready to trade. Daryl's forced into trading Lydia. Bounty is where I thought it was my transition into, all right, now we gotta buckle our seatbelts. It's a whole different thing coming next. Steve Smitherman says, quick question. When they say letters have been sent to Maggie, who is taking these letters? Surely the Postal Service isn't back up and running yet. Just something I've wondered when they mention it. I got to think it's probably some of those guys that, remember the two guys that rode up, the two little knights, and they had to deliver the message that Rosita was hurt? Probably them, I would think. That they've got an area where they drop them off, and then Georgie and crew probably just drive around and pick up. It's a good question. And then when C. Thomas Howell, gallops by, Georgie's out there, and she says, "Stop, oh yes, wait a minute, Mr. Postman." Can you guys tell I had 2 days off? Tom Ferreira says, just wanted to say hi. Hi, Tom. Matt. Tom, a.k.a. Matt Ferreira. Tom, a.k.a. Matt, a.k.a. Bug Ferreira. So, I don't think wherever Maggie and wherever Georgie are, it's a very convenient, because they're on the run. They're out trying to save some communities. They've got to have like drop boxes where they communicate. And maybe somebody hijacked their mail. Drama King, super chatted up, says, let's not forget Lydia's whole purpose for being on that bridge was to kill our group, not to make friends. Abso-freaking-lutely. Absolutely. And she got a pass pretty quickly. Lydia and Tammy Rose, though, I will tell you, of all the emotional roller coasters I went through on The Walking Dead, and all the Green Team members, you guys could just show the Angela Kang emoji, because I'm a big fan. But she goes fast. She really gets the story out there fast. I'm not nitpicking it because I think she's incredible. But she was able to sort of twist the audience very fast. That story changed in a hurry. Fluff Salisbury, nope, a little zombie apocalypse isn't going to stop bill collectors from coming after us. It won't. But something, Fluff, did stop Maggie from getting to Jesus' funeral, unless they just forgot to send her an invitation. Maybe with all the stuff going on, that was the least of their worries. And it could have been. I mean, right? You got the people walking amongst the dead, and then you got a tragic death. Yeah, we forgot the invitation. Maybe she never got invited. So I'm not going to knock Bounty, but because I will say I don't think it was the best, but I do think it really got me ready for Guardians, because Guardians is where it went down. Those of you that like Bounty better, why would you like Bounty more than Guardians when we finally got to see? Was it because Henry was a little cheesy in that one, following him out there? But I thought with Guardians, we've got Daryl and Connie dynamic working. We've got Alpha killing people. We do have the little wink Henry does. But then we got Daryl showing up at the end. And that's when I was in for a ride. Alan Arthur, how did Beta get out of the elevator shaft? That is up there with why didn't Rick lose his arm and how did Morales live? I don't know how Beta got out of the elevator shaft. It's just one of those things that will, maybe. I really wanted to see it. I wanted to see him like just jump on the elevator and it fall a couple floors and him climb out. I think that was needed. Supernatural monster flew out. You know what? I'm willing to give this week's first and only Kills coin. Maybe. I don't know if we did one Monday. Anyway, I'm willing to give another Kills coin to the person right now who can come up with the best answer of how Beta got out of that elevator. So everybody in green right now, if you guys see an answer you like, all you have to do when you read it is just flash that coin and put their name afterwards. And I'm going to pick one of the best ones, and that'll be the same as a free super chat during tomorrow, during Freestyle Friday. So let's come up with the best solution. Everybody think. We got to come up with a way Beta got out of that elevator. And now get to Randy Walton in 1 second. Batman got him out. Elevator door was right in front of him. He jumped, probably. I mean, it just looked the way Daryl knocked him down and spit on him that if it wasn't a big fall, why would Daryl make the assumption that he was dead? I'm just checking a couple comments here. I want to see who's the most creative. To the top of the elevator he fell on. He climbed out to the next level and got out. I mean, I'm going to have to think through this. I'm not seeing anything that kind of jumps off the page, to be honest. It does seem like a plot hole. It does seem like something they just thought that we would gloss over. But the fight was such a big deal. And Daryl looking down and spitting on him like, hey, I just killed you. Well, all you did was knocked him off. He didn't stab him, didn't shoot him, didn't cut him. He just knocked him off about a 10-foot drop or maybe 20-foot drop. How does one just get out of a 20-foot drop? There appeared to be no opening up there. All right, I'm going to get these super chats and we'll get back because we're going to get into choke point in a second. Randy Walton, what did you make of the scene where Lydia is about to let the walker bite her and Carol was watching but did not make a move to stop her? Randy, that was in 16. Hold tight with that super chat because once we get to, I'm going in order. So when I get to 16, I definitely want to talk about that. I did talk about it in a previous stream, and I think it was Sunday, either Sunday or Monday, and it was titled the most real episode of The Walking Dead ever, because I really love 16, but I'll get back to you in 1 second. Another super chat. This is Rachel the Army Brat said, I was wondering how Alpha was able to get those 10 poor Pike victims. Rachel, hold tight with that too. I'm going to address both of those. That was in 15, so I'll hit your super chat in 15 and Randy's in 16. All right. So, yeah, I didn't see anything that jumped off. All right, we'll have to hold off on the kills coin. I told you guys, these things are, oh, you know what? Hold on. How did everybody, Green Team, how did you guys not see Drama King's comment? Who missed that comment? Can somebody get a nomination for Drama King? That actually was very, very clever. Now they got to scroll up and see it. I just caught it like flashing by when I was scrolling up. I'll read it again, and if you guys don't want to vote for it, it's fine. He said he used the PPP card to get out of the elevator. It's a key card. Come on. You guys don't think that's pretty clever. I like it. If we can get enough support, I would definitely give a kills coin for that one, right? Just went unnoticed. See that? All right. Kel, can you put that on the ledger? Hey, this is no joke. We got an official kills coin ledger. So, and we're using these. So those coins, the virtual coins, are going to be used for our Freestyle Friday. So when we start talking about a topic and people are super chatting, Drama can kind of throw his next comment out there, get a free subject change, and that's how we're going to, not only will it be super chats, not only will it be me changing the topic, all throughout the week you guys are going to be getting some virtual currency to kind of shift it over a little bit. I think it's going to make it a little bit more interesting, I guess, the word I'm looking for, and make it a little bit more interesting. So good job with that, Drama. I just barely caught that scrolling up. All right, I'm going to get to a couple more episodes here because I do want to follow back up with those super chatters. So it does bring us up to choke point. So, well, hang on, because we were talking about the elevator. Before we get to choke point, let's talk about Guardians. Are there any votes for Guardians to be the best episode of the season? First time we saw Alpha with the wire, challenging one of her own. You want to challenge the Alpha. And then that didn't go over well. You could see the fear of the boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife, whatever they were, in their eyes. They knew. They knew she was going to kill one of them. And then she took the head of the girl and she gave it to him. Any votes for that being the best of the season? One of them, not the best though, says Ollie. Casey says we saw how the Whisperers lived. Kimberly G says good, but not the best. So, here's my thing. That was the fourth. That was the midway point. And you knew at that moment, if that was going to be the fourth best or fifth best episode, you knew it was going to be a good second half of the season. And I will, once again, I'm going to go on record of saying, best season ever in The Walking Dead. Ever. Because it got better. A couple people liked it, but wasn't the best. So we actually saw exactly, we saw Alpha kill Frank earlier. But this was a whole different level. All right, so as we were just talking about, let's move to 13, choke point. Choke point, a little bit more of the Daryl, Connie, Henry, Lydia relationships. This episode had some really good stuff. One, I think it's where we officially thought Daryl and Connie were going to become a thing, right? How many people thought choke point was where we finally got that Daryl-Connie chemistry? June Smith, okay, I got to do it. Why wasn't Rick's voice on the radio? Why are they torturing me? I'm going to start a petition, and it's called Andy Come Back. Sorry, Army, had to sneak it in. June. I was going to talk about that for like 15 minutes once we got to 16. But I am definitely going to address it. And I love the use of caps there. That shows your passion. So hold that thought. I got 3 super chats. And thank you guys for super chatting because they actually go in order. So I got one for 15 and 2 for 16 at this point. And you guys know, we get to 16, there's a lot of good stuff to talk about because we're sort of ramping up. Other than... Okay, I'll ask a question leading up to it. I probably shouldn't ask it just yet. But other than 16, because some people loved it, some people were slightly disappointed. I loved it. I will go on record of saying 16 was my favorite. How many people thought it was a deliberate ramp up, that it was good, a little better, little better, little better, and then by the time you got to Scars, the calm before, and then 14, 15, and 16, that it was just at a whole different level. That they gradually gave you just a little bit more of the story and a little bit more of the story. By sprinkling in some of the little subplots. A little bit of the Negan story. A little bit of the relationship stuff. A little bit of the breaking up of relationship stuff. Okay, so back to choke point. We actually did a survey, and many of you, we did on the 909 main page, and we asked which fight was the best in Walking Dead. And I think we put Rick and Daryl, we put Negan and Rick, and then we put Beta and Daryl. So how many people thought the Beta-Daryl fight in choke point was the best ever? June Smith, who was the best fight scene ever with in the Walking Dead history? Tell me. I already know June's vote. I think June created like 100 YouTube accounts and voted for the Rick Negan scene like over and over and over again, just to kind of get some numbers up there. Daryl says, kills, I thought 12 through 16 were all great. I agree. I agree with that. 100%. Rick and Tyrese. I knew it would have Rick in it, though. So, funny thing, and a lot of times when we take these surveys, you can see the passion of the survey. Many people, as soon as that fight happened, said it was the greatest of all time. Now that we've had like a month to sort of gauge it, gauge is probably bad because he's still alive, to kind of compare it to other fights throughout the history of Walking Dead, I think it pales in comparison. I think it dropped really, really quickly. I agree. I think the fight was extremely overrated, but we were so excited about The Walking Dead when it happened. It's like, man, it was a great fight. I love how Daryl just kind of hid under the piece of plywood. And Beta's so dumb, he just walked over that piece of plywood. But he didn't break the piece of plywood. If Beta runs over that plywood, it probably cracks. But then Daryl just slides it and jumps out. I don't know about you. Just a quick question. And maybe you guys can help me out. Maybe you've never been in a fight on a construction site. I haven't either. But if you have been, how many people think if you're Beta and you like literally walk over the top of a hollowed out 3-foot hole with supplies in it, that as soon as the board slides back, hang on, let me see if I had a board sliding sound. Okay, sorry. That was me scratching a piece of paper. But you probably heard me scratching a piece of paper. Well, more than likely, you'd hear the board sliding back. Daryl was stealthy like a ninja. How many people think Beta probably would have heard that, turned around, and gave him like an atomic elbow right to the top of the head? That's assuming Beta and his 300 pounds doesn't crack the board. But, yeah, not that. Beta's hearing was leaves a little bit to be desired. I'm not trying to criticize it. I'm not trying to look. It's a TV show about zombies. I'm not going to pick apart a fight scene. But yes, you would hear it. So yeah, maybe that's what caused it to score a little bit lower. Tom Bug Ferreira, Alpha is so far the best villain. I agree. And, villain, Tom, has a lot of different... There's a lot of ways you can look at a villain. I would say using the word best villain is a little bit tough. Like, I can tell you, without a shadow of a doubt... Well, you know what? Scratch that. Never mind. I was going to say without a shadow of a doubt that the Governor was the worst in the comics, but I can't say that because I've not read up to the Whisperer arc. And Alpha may be as bad in the comics. I will tell you, between the Governor in the comics and Negan, there is no comparison. On the TV show, I thought Negan was worse than the Governor, but in the comic, the Governor is... I could not even read some of those pages and what happened to Michonne. John, super chatting. John says, Episode 12 showed Lydia expressing some anger toward Alpha when she asked if she only came for her info. I think it said a lot. When she... And John, 12 is where Alpha gave the apple to Lydia, and it was very kind of barbaric, but I have to take care of you here, go ahead and eat this, and you only lied because you had to. Kind of not trusting her. But certainly, I think Lydia thought at some point that maybe Henry could coexist with them, but when Alpha asked Lydia to kill him, that all bets were off then. Tom, hang on, I think I missed one. Fluff Salisbury says, Beta had 4 ears. He definitely should have had better hearing. Fluff. Everybody's like giving Fluff a thumbs up. You can get a coin for it, Fluff, but you got recognized. It's a tough crowd, man. It's a tough crowd. Tom Ferreira, Governor was a broken man. Yeah, the Governor did nothing for me on the TV show, though. I know the Herschel thing was bad, but the Michonne scene was pretty graphic in the comic. But I will tell you that I felt really good reading what Michonne did to the Governor in the comic. Now, that part I didn't mind. I could definitely read that. Drama King, Daryl trusted Lydia quicker than anyone ever. He did, and Drama, I think the only reason I didn't have a problem with that was because of the abuse. When he saw how she was abused, and of course we saw that later in 16 as well, it hit a nerve with him immediately. And I think it was almost as if, and actually, to come to think of it, there are 3 or 4 references of it that played on later on. When Daryl said to Carol, "What do you see when you look at me?" I think that was a small reminder that he was abused as a kid. And then we saw Alpha, that she is the abuser. And so we didn't really understand it, I guess, at the time all the way. But certainly we understand it now. William the Walking Dead billboard. Negan was the best villain and now remains on the show to continue his story. Negan is the man. Yeah, I do like me some Negan now. Ain't gonna lie. Tom Bug says the termites were really crappy villains. Tom, in hindsight, I don't know. I don't know that I agree with that. I think at the time, and the point at which I was in watching The Walking Dead, I thought the termites, and I thought the whole terminus was effective. If you go back and you compare it to what we have now with the Whispers and what we have, yeah, you could go back and say, it might have been a little weak. But in that moment, at that stage of The Walking Dead, I mean, the whole thing with, knocking somebody's head and draining their blood out, I mean, that was gruesome. And you thought, oh, and that's when I first started hearing the name Negan. Oh, Glenn's going to get the Negan scene in Terminus. But not the way it happened. But yeah, I thought they were good. And I thought Gareth, I thought they played it well. I mean, differing opinion. Betty Jackson, how many people does Alpha have to just kill herself? I don't know. It's a good question, Betty. We've just speculated how many Whisperers could be out there. And I think the number we keep coming up with is probably a group of a couple hundred. But you don't challenge the Alpha or you die. You don't witness Alpha crying or you die. So she's got enough. She can certainly take out a couple. Kitty Pet, the disease at the jail was worst victim. Mother Nature serves no man. Daryl Rick ending, we're standing over Jesus. Best fight. Kitty, do you mean the kind of Keystone Cop fight where they were all running around and when they initially met Jesus? Because that was great. Different type of fight, but certainly a memorable scene. Drama King, termites, 1,000 times better than the vultures on Fear the Walking Dead. I am not going to disagree. The vultures, I'm gonna get back into this because if I don't finish this list of episodes, we will have a best of second half part 3. I know if I put it up for a vote, you guys will say, let's do it. We'll keep talking about it. But you bring up a great point. The vultures were not a terrible storyline for Fear the Walking Dead because, in my opinion, because they played with time. They didn't make them into a true villain. I think there was some intent to leave it somewhat lighthearted, to make Mel neither good nor evil, just to show the tough decisions that Alicia and others had to make, with the whole situation. Mel cared about Charlie. So I don't know that I would chalk them up as totally being a villain as much as a group with different sets of ideals. And if they did try to make them a villain, you're right. They didn't do a very good job. But I didn't feel they were a big threat the whole time. I mean, now, it doesn't mean that we won't have a badass villain this season. And I do think they need that. And drama, maybe that's the whole point of it. Maybe they said, all right, well, we got a bigger villain set up, and we don't want to dwell on this whole vulture story. We got to kind of get Charlie over, and we got to get through the stadium, and we're going to have to kill off Madison and move the story along. But certainly weak. I got another super chat here, and this is Tom Bug Ferreira says, had too tragic of a backstory to make me hate them, and they were so weak and pathetic. Yeah, I think that's a follow-up to Terminus. But there were some really epic scenes in there. I mean, like, when you found out they were cannibals, that was kind of epic. you think they invite you over for a meal, and what's for dinner? You're what's for dinner. And then Carol's grand introduction. I mean, there was some good stuff in that limited Terminus storyline, I thought. Especially at that time of the show. They were really getting their feet under them as far as the dark, twisted nature. Randy Walton, does anybody feel like the Highwaymen were only written in to be some heads on the spikes? Randy, I certainly think there will be people that would agree with that. I think I partially agree with it, that because you lost Maggie, because you lost Rick, because you're losing Michonne, I think the payroll's about where they needed it to be. They're okay. They didn't need to lose a whole lot of new people. So I do think that's part of it. I also think it shows the confidence and the ability. Everybody in green, do me a favor. Can you show me the Angela Kang emoji one more time? Because I'm going to give her another shout out. Because the fact that you bring this up, that Angela can have her team roll out a group, introduce them, make you like them, make them heroes to come in and to try to save the group, and then kill them in a couple episodes. Pretty impressive. Showing like her power to tell a story. Oceanside was not that. Oceanside, honestly, long, drawn out, didn't like it, only a couple characters. It started with the Heath thing and the PPP we've never found. Then we get Tara washed up on a shore. Oceanside, if I can be completely honest with the group, probably one of the most boring sub-stories I've ever seen on The Walking Dead. And the fact that they kept them around and kept them around and kept them around. And they went back and I do think that Angela Kang did a good job this year of finishing up the Oceanside story and making them somewhat relevant with Killing of a Rot. That was probably one of the few parts of Oceanside that actually got my attention. But certainly the Highwaymen, because we got introduced to the Highwaymen in Bounty, in 11. Because 11 is where Ezekiel went out with the group and they were trying to find the bulb. And then we got the first little tease of who they were. So, yeah, over a few episodes, phenomenal. All right, so let's jump into Scars. You say Scars, I always sound like a pirate when I say that. Would the Dwight's role be friend or foe? Yeah, it's a good question, and we will do some deep dive for Fear the Walking Dead next week. And we'll start getting into some early predictions. If I ask that question to the group drama, overwhelmingly everybody's going to say friend. Because I know this crowd. And it's because they want Dwight to be a friend. But I would agree he'll be on the good side. But the introduction, I think, is going to come with a little bit of some lack of trust. I would have a hard time thinking that they took Dwight over to make him like Morgan's archenemy. I mean, I would watch it, but I think Dwight is going to be the new Daryl on Fear the Walking Dead. Not a whole lot of talking. Using a crossbow. Yeah. I mean, what you don't have, though, you got a lot of characters that could cross over. Like, hey, you got Michonne, And, well, Alicia is probably like, with that muffler thing she uses, kind of like Carol with the knives. And John Dory is kind of like Abraham with smaller guns, but, a little bit. So, I can make comparisons and see some similarities. But, yeah, I don't think we needed another crossbow person on The Walking Dead. We got Yumi. We got Daryl. We didn't need Dwight. Right, Dazzy? That's why I took Daryl's stuff. Okay. So, very popular episode, Scars. Anna Demo Scars was one of my 3 favorite episodes. Did anybody have Scars as their favorite episode? Good story, good backstory. June Smith, are you out there? June, was Scars your favorite in the second half? Because we got the gun. Where you at, June? Tom, Bug Ferreira. The Whispers were way better than the Termites. Well, that I agree. You won't get any disagreement out of me with that. I just don't think the Termites were bad. In fact, there's very few villains on The Walking Dead. Even, little minor villains. Like, I thought Jadis's group was done effectively. They weren't my favorite group, but they were kind of, drama. I think the Scavengers would probably be equivalent to the Vultures. Would you agree with that? That the Vultures weren't really hardcore villains, and the 2 storylines were Bridge. You kind of felt bad for Jadis a little bit after Simon killed all her people. And then with Mel, you kind of felt bad because of all the things that happened. So I think a similar group, I think. I can't even use the word villains with both because I don't see them as that. I see them just kind of neutral. Let's see. I think I'm good on my Terminus super chats. All right, we're caught up. So June Smith, I did see that you said Scars was your favorite in the second half because of the Rick Grimes. It was. I pause with this question, and I got to ask it to you guys in a way that doesn't lead. I hate asking leading questions, and I do that a lot. Sorry, it's like, do you think or don't you agree? It's sort of pushing you in a certain direction. June Smith says, Scars, first inkling of Rick since he left. That is worth a bonus. So I don't care. I don't care if it's a leading question. I'm just going to kind of throw it out there. There was so much build up around Scars. And immediately after, all the talk, all the YouTube, all the articles were about the dark nature of the episode. Now that the season is over, and we're sort of thinking about the show and it's not fresh in our memory, am I the only person looking back on it that probably says, maybe we overreacted a little bit and it wasn't quite as dark, and it was necessary, and it was a secret, and it was something. I mean, there were dark moments, but I'm not feeling the lingering impact of it now. It was a good episode. I thought it was a great episode. But 7-1 was dark. Okay? The border scene was chilling and dark. The Governor and Herschel, dark. I mean, there are moments throughout The Walking Dead, but they answered the X's. And I understand the controversy around killing the kids that were giving her flack and teaching the kids to do that. But I almost feel like that's not that abnormal in a zombie apocalypse, right? That bashing somebody's head in with a barbed wire baseball bat is abnormal. Teaching kids and recruiting them and having your own little flock, and they're like a bunch of little mice attacking you and you got to step on them, which is what Michonne pretty much did. To me, looking back on it, not super dark, probably what most people would have done. But, and I know June is, and I don't want to bring back these bad memories, but June, I would say the Glenn scene in 7-1, I've never watched it twice, and the snot bubble Rick, and I'm sorry if you're eating, because that's the only way I can articulate it, and it was great acting, because he actually did it. Begging for Carl, probably two of the darkest, most memorable scenes that I have, not only on The Walking Dead, probably of any movie or any TV show. And there's been nothing in season 9 that can get close to that other than the border scene. To me, the border scene and the amount of time they spent in the animated heads, but even that, I've watched it several times. Yep. Yeah, a lot of people still 7-1 is can't stop with that. But if I compared 7-1, I'll tell you, 7-1 was so good I can never watch it again. I know that sounds silly, but it was. I got my whole glass filled up watching it one time. All I needed. But I'd say in the totality of any season, 7-1 to me was not that good of a season. Season 7 was not that good of a season. 7-1 was great because it answered questions and it affected me. But if I take all the episodes of 9, I don't think, to me, I don't think there's another season that had all the good that this had. All right, so let's go up to probably the two. You could probably debate Scars being one of those, but in my mind, 15 and 16 were the two best. And if we talk about this 3 weeks from now, I don't know that it's going to wear off, kind of like, the Daryl Beta fight, it was good and then it kind of wore off a little bit. Scars was good, it was dark and it wore off a little bit. 15 and 16, I don't feel like I'm going to change my opinion of those because they were both very good for two totally different reasons. 15 had the story and the build-up and the celebration and the threat and then the punishment. And 16 had all the social issues that I really, really enjoyed, the way they put those in there. So we got a couple more super chats. So Kitty Pet says, psychological horror is much more difficult than visual horror, and they nailed psychological horror with Scars. It would... It depends on the person. And I can definitely see your point of view and agree with that. But visual horror can become psychological horror to many people. It depends on what your thing is, all right? So, I know YouTube has blocked this little thing popping up. I'm not even going to say it because you guys know and they can't do videos. But that's visual. But visually, that creates a psychological impact, not just the torture and the means and all of those things. And I do agree. There was visual horror in 7-1, and there was psychological horror in 7-1 because of the taunting and the teasing and the helplessness. Now, Kitty, from a personal level, I would agree with you. Because the thing that probably bothers me the most in any comic story situation is when someone exacts their will or takes advantage of someone else that can't do anything about it. Whether it's, I haven't gotten to it in the comics, but whether it be sexual assault in the comic books, or whether it would be torturing somebody, like when Glenn and Maggie were tied up, that level of torture. Whether it's like in Reservoir Dogs and being tied up and having your ear cut off and having gasoline I mean, those scenes, although they're visual in nature, the lingering effect of helplessness is what probably hits me more than anything else. And somebody brought up a great point, and somebody super chatted this. So I don't want to kind of gloss over it. How the group was taken and how the group was tortured in 15 has never been answered. And I think, I hope that Angela Kang is doing exactly what you just said there, Kitty. I think she's leaving it to everyone's own horrors or fantasies or dark places or desires or whatever to say, this is the way this happened for me. Sadiq told his story. He's not a traitor. He could have lied and made the story about what he wanted, and there could have been something hidden in there. And you know what? We could maybe assume they were tortured and they were, all of those things, depending on what you needed for that scene to be important to you. So I don't know that it needs to be explained. I think it just needs, you can watch it over and over again and say, hey, Ozzy and group went out as heroes and it worked for everybody. Or you can say, no, they were taken, they were mentally abused and all of those things because that's the type of person Alpha is. And then there you have it. You have your psychological horror. But I would say the worst is probably when one leads to another. That would probably be the worst part. But it's hard to speak for what... Your comment is definitely correct for me. I don't know that it's correct for everybody. That's the only thing I would say. June Smith, Negan's torture of Rick on the RV. Yeah, there was a lot of that in 7-1. June, but the ultimate was when he was going to cut Carl's arm off. That was Rick's breaking point. And for us to watch Rick break was tough. Drama King, was the Pike scene justified? We killed a lot of Alpha's people before she killed any of ours. Our group has killed a lot of... Okay, so... And Drama did something. I think he did it on purpose, too. Because he brought up a topic that we talked about several months ago. And I was very, very adamant in saying Alpha needs to be portrayed as a absolute villain. No gray area, no free pass, none of those. Because we did it with Negan, and there was a sympathy that went through. So let me say this. Drama, the Pike scene for Alpha was absolutely justified. They did it well, and I'll tell you why. We got to see all of Alpha we needed to see with what happened with Frank. We got to see how her story, I saw a bug in the closet, and her face was turning purple. That creepy, she's watching her kid suffocate with cellophane wrapped around her face and doesn't immediately jump in. It's like, oh my God, my kid's smothering to death. My kid's running out of oxygen. She just went through it. And then she wanted to beat her afterwards for being in that situation. So I think they did a very good job of showing the twisted nature of Alpha leading up to that. And then they continued. You got a brief moment of reprieve. Your people killed our people. There will be conflict. So you got to see a little bit of, okay, maybe they toned her down a little bit. Maybe she can be negotiated with. But as Lydia said, it was always their intention to kill them. They were just waiting to see what the numbers were. So I don't think there's even the slightest little hint that Alpha should have did what she did. I think there were deaths on both sides. Both groups could have moved on. Alpha didn't. Now, we could go back to one point and say Henry should have never followed Lydia. That certainly didn't help the situation. But you have to think that she had all those walkers gathered up for something. And if it wouldn't have went down one way to mark the border, it would have went down in another way. So I don't think there's any doubt about it in my mind. And, yeah. And she was going to feed the baby to the walker. Yeah, there's no more that we needed to make her the worst villain. She's got the award. And they certainly are, Ryan. And you know what? They had a little bit of a break. They're going to start filming here in a couple of weeks. And I'm sure they've kind of gotten the pulse of the fans about how we think she's perceived and what they need to do. And if they don't think that we perceive her as evil enough, all she's got to do is have a second Pike scene, right? And put Rosita and Ezekiel on it. I will just throw this out there to the group, and then we're going to wind it down because we're an hour in. So, yes, we will continue this conversation next week because we're doing Freestyle Friday tomorrow. So, Season 9 is so good of a season that we're probably going to have to contribute anywhere between 3 and 4 streams to finish talking about it. But I am going to end with this comment. Wherever you gauge Alpha at this point, she's as bad as the governor so far, maybe on Negan's level. If Alpha has a second Pike scene, and either, maybe not both, either Ezekiel or Rosita are on that Pike to mark the borders again, does it solidify her as the greatest villain in the history of The Walking Dead? Leave your thoughts and comments to that. And on that note, we are going to wind it down, everybody. We will be back here tomorrow night at 8 o'clock. So I know tonight we're 9 o'clock. We're probably going to, 9 o'clock is going to be our new deal. It's not going to be 9:30. It's a little late for some. So 9, but on Fridays, it is going to be 8 p.m. If you guys have not been here for a Freestyle Friday, be here tomorrow night. Kel's got a ledger, so we got a few Kills coins that we've given out, so you guys will get a chance to get your thoughts, get your comments in there. I will post a survey on the Patreon page tomorrow, so I'm going to have a couple Patreon token topics for that as well. And, of course, we will have our Super Chatters in full effect. Hey, bring your creativity, bring your humor. It does get a little bit casual, a little bit loose, but we have a lot of fun on Friday nights, so I will be back for that. I got one more Super Chat here. William says, funny how Alpha defends her people, but at the same time kills her own people for the smallest thing. Well, William, she's drank the Kool-Aid. She believes in what she's doing. The one thing I will say about Alpha, it's not a front, at least in my mind. So let me ask, anybody think that Alpha is faking it at this point, that she doesn't believe what she's selling? And I think that's why she's so genuine is she has been psychologically abused, probably beaten as a child. She went through the trauma of this whole situation. I don't think Negan I thought was fake. Governor I thought was fake to a degree. that they had to put on a show. Alpha, I think, is as real as it gets. She believes that this is the way of life and this is the way people go forward. To her detriment. Ultimately, I think that's going to be, her beliefs are going to be what gets her killed. She's going to be proven wrong. Because, hey, the good guys always prevail on The Walking Dead, eventually. All right, so I do want to say thank you to all the patrons in top left-hand corner. You guys are absolutely amazing. We added a lot of new patrons, a lot of new support. Most recently, we had Anita Nokier. Thank you so much. We also got channel members. Channel members are unlocking all the emojis you see. They're in green. I think we need like 12 more channel members, and then we are going to unlock either... I'll let you guys vote on it, but once we get 13 more channel members, we'll either do a Fear the Walking Dead emoji or we'll do a Game of Thrones emoji. I know we're going to be split because we have fans of both, and we're going to be talking about both, but we will do an official survey, official poll. Do want to give a shout-out to the moderators, Emmy, Steph, Tommy, Kels. Thank you for everything that you guys do every night. You guys are absolutely amazing. And I want to thank you guys for giving me a couple nights off. Let me shout out all the super chatters we had here tonight. So Villar, June Smith, Steve Smitherman, Tom Ferreira, Drama King, Fluff Salisbury, Alan Arthur, Randy Walden, Rachel Army Brat, John Ariett. Who else we got? We got William the Walking Dead Billboard, Betty Jackson, and Kitty Pet. And a couple people had multiple super chats. So thank you so much. Appreciate everything that you guys do. Some of you that had super chat topics that we talked about a little bit, we will bring those topics in, especially the ones a couple of you guys talked about. I think it was Randy Walton, also June, talked about 15 and 16. So we are going to continue this debate next week, best season ever, and we're going to have a lot of focus on 15 and 16, and then we'll kind of put it up for a vote. So everybody do me a favor, as many 999s as we can get, and I want to give some shout-outs. So thank you, D-Slice, for that super chat as well. We got Timmy Guy, Samantha Coombs, Jim09, Lynn Nesvick, Daryl Stoltz, Darkstar 999. See, I was already on path to do your old name right there. It's like permanently ingrained. Troy Mattingly, Deborah Farrell, thank you. William the Walking Dead Billboard, Kimberly M., Hilda Pineda, Chris Rainig, Dead on Leprechaun, Vixen, Ryan Shalero, RJ Guerrero, thank you. Linda Yabara, appreciate it. Alan Arthur. Darlene Raining, Julia Muse, thank you. Hippo in the house, Graylin 28. Anita, thank you, Anita. Gina Crockett, thank you. Have a good night. Bumblebee Brown, good to see you. Christina Goddard, thank you, Christina. Leanne Gash, thank you. And if you guys are new, I saw several new faces tonight with our streams. Subscribe and hang out with us every night. I think you'll have a good time. Maybe not at first, maybe eventually. Because we break down these episodes hopefully at a different level. It's not just my opinions and my thoughts and telling you what I think about the latest news or latest pictures that are out there. It really is a lot of interaction, and the group, we get all of our opinions included in here. Either I read them out, or you guys have them as a permanent part of the video. Mark Ross, thanks for being here. Roxanne Dunlap, Buffy Batcave, thank you. B. Sanchez, Anna Cole, good to see you. Angel Calors, thank you. Mr. Rika, 81, thank you. Appreciate that. Chris Rainey will be here, so you should join. That's all the reason. Cammy, thank you. Kamikaze 1. And thank you for the well wishes. I wasn't sick. Just want to take a couple days off. I was just, I was exhausted. Man, we were streaming 2-3 times a day. And just keeping up with just all the topics and all the news that was out there. It's always a tough time of year because there's so many things to talk about. Gentleman Trout, thank you. Joyce Andrews, thank you. Appreciate you being here. All right, everybody, if I missed you in a shout-out, then I will catch you tomorrow night. But once again, be here tomorrow night for Freestyle Friday. We will be doing Coffee with Kills Saturday morning. Sunday, we'll probably do 2 streams on Sunday. We'll do a fairly early stream, and then we're still going to do our evening stream. And then on Monday, we're going to be back. I think this is the 4th technically season that we've done of Random Things. So we actually got Freestyle Friday and Random Things, which they're similar, but they're different, and you will find out why in each stream. Freestyle Friday, you guys kind of control the chat, and in Random Things, I have 6 topics predetermined, and we will jump around. So thanks, everybody. I will see you all tomorrow night at 8, and if something comes up, I might do a coffee with Kills tomorrow morning. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to it, but if we don't do a coffee with Kills tomorrow, then I'll definitely do a 8 o'clock stream tomorrow night, Freestyle Friday. Thanks, everybody. I'll talk to you then. Peace.